500 years before the birth of Jesus Christ in Asia, a person named Sun Tzu wrote what became known as the book, The Art of War. In that book, Sun Tzu explains that every battle is won before it is fought. That may have just happened today in the state of New Jersey when it comes to our right to keep and bear arms and pending lawsuits there challenging the new absurd gun control laws brought to us by the legislature of the state of New Jersey. Stay tuned. I'll explain all of this when we get back. Hey folks, I'm Mark Smith, host of the Four Boxes Diner, proud American gun owner, constitutional attorney, member of the United States Supreme Court Bar, and New York Times best-selling author. If you have not subscribed to the Four Boxes Diner Second Amendment channel, please do so. Show your love for the right to keep and bear arms and help us hit 100,000 subscribers. It will make a big difference for helping to spread the word through the social media algorithms. All right, folks, you ever watch a football game and the announcer will point out before the ball is snapped as the players are all lined up ready to go, and Tony Romo or one of the announcers will say, "Hey, look, there's a 6'5" tall wide receiver that's super fast being guarded one-on-one by a 300-pound, 5'9" linebacker. I think the quarterback's going to throw the ball over there." And then it happens. Well, guess what? That's what I'm about to tell you here today and now when it comes to your Second Amendment rights in the state of New Jersey. Some great news, in fact, as I see it, which is, as you may recall, the state of New Jersey enacted all sorts of restrictions on the right to bear arms, meaning the right to carry arms, after NYSERPA versus Bruin was decided. There's a series of lawsuits brought by multiple gun rights organizations in the state of New Jersey. One of the cases commenced on December 22nd. Both of the cases I'm going to talk about were commenced on December 22nd, right before Christmas. One was entitled Koons versus Reynolds. The other was entitled Siegel versus Platkin. The Koons case was assigned to Judge Marie Bumb, who was appointed to the federal bench by George W. Bush. The other case, that's the Siegel versus Platkin case, was assigned to Judge Karen Williams, who was appointed to the federal bench by Joe Biden. Now, these were both federal district court judges. We know that what happened was just a couple days ago, because I reported it here, that in the Koons versus Reynolds case, Judge Bumb actually entered an order declaring that many of the so-called sensitive places laws enacted by the New Jersey legislature were unconstitutional under the Second Amendment and under NYSERPA versus Bruin, and rightly so in my view. She also entered this TRO and then set this case down for expedited briefing on the preliminary injunction. So it's apparent that Judge Bumb is very good when it comes to the Second Amendment. She understands her job as a lower court judge, following the rule of law set forth by the Second Amendment's text and by the methodology articulated by the U.S. Supreme Court in NYSERPA versus Bruin. So what about that other case? That other case, the Siegel versus Platkin case, which was brought simultaneously with the Koons versus Reynolds case. Well, we know we had a great outcome already in the Koons versus Reynolds case in front of Judge Bumb. But what about the Siegel versus Platkin case? Well, that case, which was assigned again to Judge Karen Williams, a Biden appointee, was discussed today in front of the court. And today, Judge Williams decided that she would transfer the case of Siegel versus Platkin to Judge Bumb, the judge who already decided in our favor on the Second Amendment, at least so far. So you have a Joe Biden appointee to the federal bench transferring a Second Amendment case to a judge that's already rendered a 60-page ruling in favor of the right to keep and bear arms. Now, none of this guarantees an outcome. None of these says what's going to happen in the lower court or what's going to if Judge Bumb's going to continue to rule in this way or maybe change your mind. Anything's possible. And nothing tells us what's going to happen on appeal to the Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit or ultimately perhaps to the Supreme Court. None of these questions are answered yet. But what we do know is I think this is a very positive development in the midst of this war for our gun rights in the state of New Jersey, because it's apparent that we have had this case. Now we have two cases. One, the Koons versus Reynolds case, which was initially assigned to Judge Bumb, and now we have the Siegel versus Platkin case, which now is also in front of the same judge. So you have two cases that have been consolidated in front of one judge who's already issued what I consider to be a very powerful decision in favor of the right to keep and bear arms, as well as I see it, the law compels her to do so, based on the law of the Supreme Court. A 60-page opinion already enjoining many of the so-called sensitive places laws in the state of New Jersey. So again, I think this is a positive development. We don't know how Judge Williams, the Biden appointee, would have ruled on any of these questions. She may have, and she should have, in my opinion, ruled the exact same way as Judge Bumb would. But there's no guarantees. But what we do know based on the evidence is we have one judge who's already done proper analysis under the Second Amendment in a favorable way, and the other judge was an unknown quantity. So again, I want to congratulate the Second Amendment Foundation, the Firearms Policy Coalition, the Coalition of New Jersey Firearms Owners, and the New Jersey Second Amendment Society for their major win in obtaining that temporary restraining order last week in front of Judge Bumb on those sensitive place issues. Congratulations. I'm looking forward to watching and reporting on more of your victories in the Ford. I hope that in the future. I hope that happens. I also want to congratulate the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs, their president, Scott Bach, and their well-known lawyer, Daniel Schmutter, for, working to have these cases brought together in front of a judge that has already ruled favorably in favor of the Second Amendment. I think that's excellent lawyering on the parts of the lawyers in these cases, and only time will tell us how this all plays out. But I would say as of right now, the battle is going to the Second Amendment organizations and not to the anti-gunners and not to the state of New Jersey that's trying to restrict Second Amendment rights. So far, so good. We'll see what happens, but we certainly will be reporting on what's going out there in New Jersey, and we wish the lawyers and the organizations out there fighting for our constitutional rights the best of wishes and Godspeed in their efforts. Okay, hope you learned a little bit something here today at the Four Boxes Diner. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We'll see you again here at the Four Boxes Diner.
Orders up. Table 2A.